Hi, Jack Canfield here, and welcome to another segment of Talking About Success. I'm here today with my guest, Teresa Power, who is a yoga instructor, a best-selling author who's got a wonderful book called The ABCs of Yoga for Kids. It's in 5 languages, sold over 200,000 copies around the world. That's very exciting. I noticed it's parent-tested, parent-approved winner. I love that, tested and approved by the parents. And I was leafing through this earlier. It's the first time I saw this book. I love this book. I am someone who's practiced yoga for many years, and I love the illustrations. I love the fact that you've got kids doing this in a beautiful way. We'll talk about that. Mostly we're going to talk about your new book called The ABC of Yoga for Kids, a guide for parents and teachers. And this is a wonderful book about how to be a parent and a teacher and help work with this book in your home and your classroom. And also there's a CD in the back with songs, and that's exciting. We'll talk about that. But I have a first question for you.
Okay.
I was looking at your resume, and you have a degree in law from Pepperdine. You have a real estate broker's license. And I wouldn't think that someone with that background would end up teaching yoga for kids. So tell me how that transitioned. How did you get into that? What happened?
Well, it's kind of an interesting transition. It's an interesting story, not your normal story about how I got into yoga. But I actually started yoga when I was in law school because I was so stressed out with all the voluminous amount of work. So my friend told me to try some yoga classes. So I did, and I really stuck through it, and it helped me like get through the bar and through law school. It helped me when I was practicing law, manage my stress, helped me focus and concentrate. But I really wasn't passionate about what I was doing. I mean, I was doing some real estate law, some personal injury, some insurance defense, which really wasn't me. And once I got married and had kids, I really wanted to do something, I don't know, more meaningful to me. And so I decided to stop practicing law, much to the chagrin of my ex-husband and my family, but I really wanted to follow my dreams. So I ended up, first, I kept up with my yoga practice. So it's been 30 years since I've been practicing yoga. I actually started when it wasn't even popular. And so I decided I would teach yoga to adults, and gradually it just evolved into this metamorphosis where I just met the right people at my son's preschool. I went in to share about what I did. And I wasn't practicing law at the time, so I said, I teach yoga. So I did a little sample routine with the kids, and oh my gosh, the teachers loved it. And they said, you know, we want to hire you on a temporary basis, see what happens, see how it evolves, to maybe start teaching yoga to these young children. Well, it ended up, they liked it so much that I was there for 10 years. I ended up teaching a whole yoga program at this school and after school, and then also the faculty as well. And during that time, that's how I came up with the idea of writing this book. You know, there were no great kids yoga books on the market at the time. So I decided I was going to create this yoga dictionary, and eventually it became an alphabet yoga book for kids. That's
very cool. So talk to me about, you went into the classroom, you started teaching this. The kids loved it, the teachers loved it. What did they love about it?
I think, first of all, they love, you can tell, I'm very enthusiastic about it.
I get that.
So they loved my enthusiasm, and also I think they loved the fact that the kids were engaged, had fun with it, and supposedly, according to the reports, they went home and they taught yoga to their parents. And I think that's the beauty of teaching kids yoga at a young age. People ask me, oh, well, why would my 3-year-old want to, you know, do yoga? Why do they need it? Well, it's because it's something fun, because you make it fun. A lot of these poses in here are based on animal poses, and you let the kids, for instance, meow like a cat when they're doing the cat pose. So you make it fun, and then they go home and teach their parents. It's a way of learning, absorbing, and then going and doing it when they get home, which is really great. And also there's relaxation tips that I teach kids where they, you know, the deep breathing or to take 5. You know, they go home and the parents tell me they go home and say, oh, Mom, I want to take 5 right now. And they go over into their little corner and take some deep breaths, you know, and count to 5.
So you don't have to wait until you're in law school at Pepperdine to learn how to not be stressed out.
Exactly, and I wish I'd learned it earlier. I mean, that's and I really want to share this with kids. I mean, it's so fantastic. It makes me feel so happy that kids, I mean, that this has been translated in all these different languages, and kids all over the world are now practicing yoga, and they're utilizing this book. And I can't be everywhere teaching, so it's nice to be able to, you know, have something that people can utilize.
Well, my 2 youngest kids went to a middle school where they had yoga as an elective course, and they both chose it. And it was great for them. It helped them relax, it helped them be centered, helped them be more aware of their body. So it's really very good stuff. So now we have a book that, well, first of all, the book for the kids. I'll just hold this up for a minute and just to see a little of what's in here. It's really well presented. It's very cool. And now you have this book, ABC of Yoga for Kids, a guide for parents and teachers. Talk about why you wrote it, and what you hope will happen as a result of parents and teachers having this book.
Okay, well, why I wrote it is because a lot of parents were emailing me saying, I don't understand what yoga's about. And because that book is easy for kids to understand, because the kid can pick up that book and do any pose in it. And there's also little rhyming vignette instructions when the kids can read, but they don't even have to read. They can just imitate the poses. But parents need more information than kids do. So they want to know why their kids should be doing yoga, or what the poses are good for, or just to have ideas of routines to do for kids. So I decided that I teach a lot of seminars right now on using yoga to get kids active. And so I'm a keynote speaker, and I go to different schools and across the nation teaching this. So I came up with the idea for this book to kind of put together all those into one consolidated place, so parents and teachers can utilize this book to be able to teach yoga to kids.
What are some of the things you teach in here? What do you tell parents and teachers?
Well, one of them, first of all, I talk about how yoga helps with different childhood challenges. I talk about how yoga helps with kids with autism, kids with special needs, kids with attention deficit disorder, which is a big thing right now. I mean, so many kids have it, but it really helps their focus and concentration. And it helps with childhood obesity. So I explain how yoga helps with all those. I tell what yoga is and what it isn't. I mean, a lot of parents are worried it's a religion, or it has to do something with Hinduism or Hindu philosophy, which, yes, it originated in India, but the way that I teach yoga is just a form of physical activity. It's a form of exercise that involves breath and movement. So I talk about that. I also give a sample yoga routine, and I give fun little games to do. For instance, one fun game is, it's chock full of information. It's a small book, but it has so much information in it. So one fun game for older kids, for instance, is that you get a globe out, and you ask the kid where their favorite place to travel is, and they could put their finger on it. So for instance, if they put their finger on Egypt, then they could do the Sphinx pose. Or if they put their finger on Hawaii, they could do the dolphin pose or the shark pose. So it's a fun way to kind of get kids, involved. So it's all about having fun and making kids experience with yoga fun so that they'll want to pursue it later on down in life.
Very good. So if you're a parent who's already doing yoga, this is a great way to help introduce it to your kids. And if you're not someone, it's also a great way to just help your kids, if they're normal, let's say, whatever normal means, or if you've got challenges like ADD or autism, whatever, it'll help them focus more, feel more engaged in their body. And this is a way you could help your kids do that.
Exactly. So it's kind of good for any kid. I mean, it's a non-competitive form of exercise, so it's suitable for kids of all athletic abilities, or whether they're overweight, underweight, what doesn't matter. It's good for everybody. Anyone can practice yoga. And another reason why I'm having this book come out on April 8th, which is Kids Yoga Day, which I'm creating this holiday called Kids Yoga Day, and I'm going to make it into an international scale, where I want schools, yoga teachers, parents, everybody to practice 5 minutes on that day at 11 a.m. of yoga. And so I figure it's 5 minutes out of the school day kids can do to practice yoga. I've put a routine on the website that they can do, or they can make up their own routine, but I really think it's really powerful to have a day where we come together to celebrate our children's health and fitness and practice yoga, and taking that 5 minutes of just mindfulness and doing some exercises.
Good for you. Good for you. So we got a few more minutes. I want to ask you some other questions. Talk about what's your ultimate vision in terms of yoga and education?
Oh, I have a huge vision. Okay, right now I'm getting my master's degree in education, so I'm going back to school. And I really want to get yoga into the schools. I want to develop a curriculum where it would be for each grade level, starting in preschool all the way up to 12th grade, and it'd be different. And I want to train teachers how to incorporate it in the school curriculum, so you don't have to hire anyone else to come into the school, but rather to have just ways to introduce mindfulness into the classroom. And it's not going to take a lot of time out of the day. And I think that schools are so worried because they have so much information to get through. But I really would like to see mindful practices and maybe some yoga postures being integrated into the school curriculum, whether it be in the classroom or in PE. But I really want to see it because our kids are, under siege by obesity, stress, diabetes. There's so many things going on with them. And with all this fast-paced technology and everything else that's going on, it's hard for kids to center themselves. And I really feel like kids are the leaders of tomorrow. I mean, this generation now, it's really important. They're going to be our leaders of the future. And if we can help them, empower them, and yoga develops so many qualities that it forms good leaders. I mean, it develops discipline, concentration, confidence in yourself. I mean, there's so many wonderful things that it will do if kids get exposed to it.
Well, and there's a ton of research now about mindfulness, and all of this you were talking about actually creating more time on task. People are afraid if I give up 10 minutes, I'm going to lose that. The average teacher spends 20 to 30 minutes in the morning just dealing with discipline and getting kids focused and all of that. They'd actually end up with more time to teach, where the kids are really paying attention if you take a few minutes a day to do this kind of thing. So that's been my experience in the work I've done in the schools. So I think you're absolutely right about that. That's great. So if people want to find out more about your book, where do they go?
Okay, they go to abcyogaforkids.com, and they can also buy it at Barnes & Noble and all the major bookstores as well. But the website is abcyogaforkids.com. abcyogaforkids.com.
Yes. Is that also where they go to find out if they want to have you be a keynote speaker for their conference or their school?
Yes, I have a media relationship page there, and also they can also find more about Kids Yoga Day, which is on April 8th, 2016 at kidsyogaday.com.
kidsyogaday.com. Yeah. Very good. Well, this is exciting. I bet you never thought back in 1988 or 92 that you'd be sitting here creating International Kids Yoga Day.
No, I never would have thought I would, but I'm very excited. I'm going a different way, but you know what? I'm forging a new path, and it's making me excited. I mean, it is really giving me this impetus, and I really want to make a change in the world, and I want people to not remember me, but when they think about kids yoga, I want them to think, okay, Teresa Power, helped all these kids and helped them, be better people. So. Well,
the real change goes from the inside out, and you're helping kids do that. So I think you're going to achieve what you want. So congratulations on that.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for being my guest today.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back.